since 1890, proudly supports quality programming on 8 Arizona PBS, 480-725-9602.
On Secrets of the Dead, ancient Rome's glittering resort town. But it had a dark side.
Mere mention of Baiae brought to mind scandal and could ruin your reputation.
Nero's sunken city on Secrets of the Dead.
Tonight at 9 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
Hi, I'm Amy Brenneman. My family and I are enthusiastic fans of public media. Public television and radio strengthen our democracy. They educate our children and empower us all to be lifelong learners. Each PBS and NPR station is a local nonprofit organization committed to the local community. Public media belongs to you and me. It's up to us to protect this essential national treasure. Information on how you can help is found at protectmypublicmedia.org.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
PBS Online. Share, tweet, watch.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Join us for a symphonic celebration of authentic Argentinian tango, when the dynamic Gustavo Dudamel conducts
a tango night.
Tangos Under the Stars with the LA Phil on Great Performances.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Mesa Arts Center presents Taj Express, the Bollywood Musical Review, a fusion of film, dance, and music capturing the vibrant, expressive spirit of Bollywood movies that have been entertaining people in India for generations. Saturday, April 15th at 8 p.m. at the Mesa Arts Center. Tickets at mesaartscenter.com.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
6 Hamilton High School football players are facing criminal charges of kidnapping and sexual assault and have been accused of hazing their teammates.
Plus, President Trump announces he is taking on the opioid addiction in America, what he and Governor Christie have planned to fight the epidemic.
And a food bank on the border is saving produce, while Nogales residents are making weekly trips across the border.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Anthony Mitchell.
And I'm Veronica Acosta. Thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight, an investigation into hazing in the powerhouse Hamilton High School football program. 6 students are under arrest. Cronkite News reporter Cassidy McDonald is at the high school and just spoke with Chandler Police.
Police say 5 Hamilton High School football players and 1 student from Chief Hill Learning Academy have been arrested in connection with a hazing case. The 6 are facing charges that include sexual assault, kidnapping, and aggravated assault. 5 are under the age of 18, and their names won't be released, detectives say. The hazing allegedly occurred on school grounds.
During the course of the investigation, our investigators learned that these incidents happened from September of 2015 up to January of 2017. There are multiple victims in this case who are also either former or current football players at Hamilton High School.
The Chandler Unified School District released this statement. The district has been cooperating with Chandler Police relative to hazing allegations involving students. Today, police arrested 6 students in association with the investigation. Chandler Police are in control of the matter, and the district cannot discuss details, but has been instructed to defer all questions to Chandler Police. Police say there may be additional hazing victims, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward. Live in Chandler, this is Cassidy McDonald, Cronkite News.
Peoria police arrested a 16-year-old sophomore at Liberty High School for making threats on social media. Police say the student posted a photo and statements designed to cause fear and disrupt school. The student says it was just a joke. Police are encouraging parents and students not to share or comment on any threatening social media posts they may see, but instead contact police immediately. And there is now a $2,500 reward for information on the case of racist graffiti at Pinnacle High School in North Phoenix. Silent Witness announced the reward today. Spray-painted swastikas and the words "White Power" were drawn all over the school last weekend.
AZ Schools Now, Arizona's Education Association, held a statewide community budget hearing in Memorial Hall at Steele Indian School Park for public testimony about Governor Doug Ducey's education budget proposals. Teacher shortages, lack of funds, teacher salaries, and classroom sizes were among the issues that parents and teachers spoke about.
This is my 18th year in education, and I've only been allowed to stay in this job because I'm married. My single friends cannot stay in this job. They cannot pay their bills. I have a friend right now, she only brings home every 2 weeks $600. Full-time teaching, and she wants to leave, and she's one of the best teachers I know.
I'm asking all of you to be honest, to be bold, and to be brave, and to continue this fight with your legislators who aren't here today, and to support the legislators who are willing to do the right.
Governor Ducey has made recommendations for boosting teacher pay and other spending increases, and the opening budget proposal from Arizona House Republicans includes bigger teacher pay raises than Ducey is seeking, according to documents obtained by the Associated Press.
President Donald Trump and New Jersey Governor Christie met today at the White House to focus on how opioids are affecting the nation. President Trump appointed Christie to the head of a special commission to figure out how to deal with opioid addiction in the nation.
Drug abuse has become a crippling problem throughout the United States. Drug overdoses are now the leading cause of accidental death in our country, and opioid overdose deaths have nearly quadrupled since 1999. This is a total epidemic.
I'm just so honored that the president would ask me to take on this task with the group that we've put together, and I'm thrilled to work with the Attorney General as well on the issues of prevention and interdiction of drugs so we don't get people hooked in the first place.
Governor Christie also signed a law requiring insurance companies in New Jersey to have regulated addiction treatment within healthcare plans. The CDC announced about 91 Americans die from opioid overdoses every day. Cronkite News is dedicated to covering the opioid epidemic in Arizona and nationwide. Our documentary Hooked RX, From Prescription to Addiction, highlighted the problem of painkillers here in our state. You can watch the documentary and find resources for getting help online at hookedrx.com.
The Trump administration is looking for a path forward from the failed GOP healthcare bill from last week. But a new poll by the Associated Press and NORC Center for Public Affairs Research shows how Americans really feel about the attempted overhaul. The poll shows that 62% of Americans turned thumbs down on the way Trump handled health care during the initial weeks of his presidency. So far, it was his worst rating among 7 issues the poll tested, which included the economy, foreign policy, and immigration. Of the 6 changes the failed House GOP bill sought to make in the Affordable Care Act, 5 drew more negative than positive reviews. Arizona House Representative Paul Gosar remains hopeful in the effort toward repealing Obamacare. In a statement, Gosar explained that, quote, just because the American Health Care Act failed to pass the House last week doesn't mean it's the end of our Obamacare repeal effort. The days of rubber stamping bad legislation are over. We are committed to putting people over politics and getting this bill done right in an open and transparent process.
Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association CEO Greg Vigdor urged Arizona's congressional delegation to vote no on the AHCA and wants to work with members of Congress to move forward with new ideas.
We're going to have to do some work in D.C. to try to get the policy right. There's some defects in it. We're going to have to sit everybody down and try to find the right way forward there. But I think there's also some room to have private conversations with the health plans in this state to try to come up with approaches that will work for the people of this state. They have other lines of business that they offer. Maybe there's some leverage for our governor and for the state to try to figure out a way to do things better there.
A new study out of the University of Wisconsin ranked health across the country using data taken county by county. Cronkite News reporter Lily Altavina is in the broadcast center with a closer look at how your health is influenced by which Arizona county you live in.
Maricopa County was ranked as the best county in Arizona for health, according to the report, which factored length and quality of life, health behavior, clinical care, social and economic factors, and physical environment. But while some rates are improving in Maricopa County, like alcohol-related deaths, other health-sensitive issues continue to climb, like adult obesity. One notable national trend is the rising rates in premature deaths in younger generations. Anyone can look up the health report and compare rankings where they live to counties around the country. In the broadcast center, Lily Altavina, Cronkite News.
Tribal leaders are in Washington today to fight for their government's right not to be called an employer. Our reporter Anthony Mataquin was on the Hill today to find out why this is such an important topic for Native Americans.
We both inherited this relationship, and you are our trustee.
A relationship tribal leaders are hoping to clarify with the passage of the Tribal Labor Sovereignty Act of 2017.
We are our own people. We have our own language. We have our own culture. We have our own way of life.
The bill would include tribal governments with federal, state, and local governments that are currently exempt from regulations as employers, a move some members of Congress said would allow tribes to finally thrive.
These enterprise zones ought to be allowed to flourish, and I would add the free speech of tribal governments ought to be allowed to flourish as well.
But union representatives are worried the bill would give tribal governments the power to ban unions from mobilizing on their lands.
Without that, there's not the incentive to work out these tribal labor relations ordinances.
But Nathaniel Brown, a Navajo Nation delegate, said in the Navajo Nation, workers and unions already receive plenty of protection. This is not about paying workers less, this is about gaining a little more independence.
They are protected, and I think this will just bring more to them, and this will just strengthen their sovereignty. So,
after all, he said, they are a separate nation. In Washington, Anthony Mataquin, Cronkite News.
Almost half of the produce Americans buy is thrown away.
Billions of pounds of produce are lost to landfills each year. Coming up next, what one food bank on the border is doing to prevent waste.
And how historic houses are getting a sustainable facelift.
I'm Scott Pelley, anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. In our changing media landscape, it is crucial for journalism education to ensure a commitment to the truth, unbiased reporting, strong ethics, unwavering fairness, and above all else, accuracy. These are the hallmarks of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. It's a place where students can innovate and transform the news industry while always upholding the values of the school's namesake. The Cronkite School at ASU, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule, where it's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Access interactive digital and printable program guides, repeat times, and full episode descriptions. Watch program previews of best bets for the coming week. Search by title to find your favorite shows. You can even add programs to your calendar and get email reminders when they're about to start. It's easier than ever to find out what's on Arizona PBS. Discover so much more at azpbs.org/schedule. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
A food bank in Nogales, Arizona is providing thousands of families with fresh fruit and vegetables. I visited the food bank to see how it's helping people on both sides of the border.
This warehouse is full of produce that would have otherwise been thrown away because it doesn't look pretty.
The primary focus is to reduce food waste. And the way Borderlands Food Bank works to do that is by rescuing produce, by preventing it from ending up in landfills, and ensuring that it's instead provided directly to the community.
For a $5 donation, families from both sides of the border can pick up a shopping cart full of produce. Juan Borbon is one of many that makes a weekly trip from Nogales, Sonora.
The produce that I have here, I take to those most in need. We put together packages and distribute them to families.
Jesus Serrano manages the warehouse, and under a special program, inmates with the Arizona Department of Corrections help out.
People are very grateful because the produce does not cost much, and it helps their families a lot.
And one way it helps is by offering nutritious produce to people who otherwise could not afford it.
We have grown adults that tell us that they've never tried eggplants before, and now because they have 7 eggplants in their crate of produce, they're going to go home, look up recipes, and try new produce.
The food bank helps about 9,000 households a year and also donates produce to livestock so it won't end up in a landfill.
Eco-friendly businesses are popping up in the valley, but one in particular has been leading the way for years. Cronkite News reporter Emma Lockhart took a look at a local restaurant that's reducing their carbon footprints in unique ways.
From massive solar panel structures to insulation made out of blue jeans, El Charro, a restaurant in Paradise Valley, is taking sustainability to the next level.
We weren't driven by return. It was more the responsibility to the planet.
Christie, an operating partner at El Charro, strives to run the business as environmentally conscious as possible. They have a macerator to reduce waste, solar-powered energy, charging stations for electric cars, an on-site well for water, and locally and organically grown food.
We looked under every rock of what we can do better, and we continue to strive to meet that goal and to tend to our customers' needs.
An environmentally conscious customer base that's growing in Arizona.
It's going to become more of a demand of customers, and that's why I think you see the spread so much of it now, is that there's more people that have had that great experience and now they're expecting it, and so restaurants have to follow.
George Fennell, a customer at El Charro, sees the trend.
I have noticed over the last 5 to 10 years that you see more of this in restaurants. It hasn't hit, I think, as big as I'd like to see it, but it's certainly out there.
Moore hopes the sustainability culture at El Charro inspires others and helps shift the restaurant industry in a greener direction. In Paradise Valley, Emma Lockhart, Cronkite News.
El Charro was the first restaurant to get LEED Gold certified in Arizona.
The city of Phoenix and business across the valley are coming together to celebrate Modern Phoenix Week through April 2nd. Reporter Nicole Gutierrez tells us how the imprint of mid-century modernism impacts Arizona residents by the works of businesses restoring and re-imaging buildings and houses.
Businesses and organizations came to the American Institute of Architecture in downtown Phoenix to discuss the importance of renovation and using mid-century buildings and homes in the state of Arizona.
The greenest building is the one that already exists.
Businesses, enthusiasts, and organizations gathered at the American Institute of Architects in downtown Phoenix to discuss the importance of mid-century buildings and homes in the state.
Arizona, and Phoenix especially, has a real great legacy of modern architecture.
A legacy of transplants, people from outside of Arizona who relocate here but may not have long-term ties to the community.
A lot of people came to Phoenix from other places, and so that plays into the lack of investment that we might have in our charitable organizations, in our arts and culture, even in our investment in new businesses.
Attendee Jan Moreleto's parents is an example of Arizona residents that came from Michigan to find a mid-century home that had the potential for minimal renovations to fit today's demands.
The realtor had found them a house in Arcadia, which was just perfect. It was just the right size. It wasn't too large, and it was just modern enough that my dad could renovate it and make it what he wanted. I see the importance of keeping the old houses and refurbishing them and being able to understand why they were built the way they were built, so that it can show us how to replicate it again.
Modernizing pre-existing structures can lead to an increase in the city's investments, according to Local First Arizona.
Modernism and historic preservation of these buildings that were, our local style is part and parcel to having a city that people are going to identify with and want to invest in.
If you're interested in attending tours, talks, or events about Modern Phoenix Week, you can visit modernphoenix.net. In Arcadia, Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
New technology can sometimes be difficult to understand and customize to your needs.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how an Arizona company is helping people get the most out of their devices.
The Final Four is just days away, taking over downtown Phoenix. And if you're headed here to the Phoenix Convention Center for the Final Four Fan Fest, it will be a gorgeous weekend out. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. finally found my It's good to be alive right about now.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe
Arizona Governor Doug Ducey has signed House Bill 2280 that intends to increase electronic filing and payment of most business taxes beginning later this year. Under this legislation, businesses will be required to file and pay transaction privilege tax, which will be phased in over a 5-year period. The phased approach provides the Department of Revenue time to enhance its infrastructure framework to provide for an electronic filing experience for all taxpayers. Arizona Department of Revenue Director David Bryant said, quote, "These new provisions will make the department more efficient, including faster tax return processing for individual taxpayers and businesses and increased fraud prevention capabilities."
A recent study shows that people age 55 and over buy technology but don't know how to use it. Farai Bennett takes a look inside a company that works to make you feel more comfortable using your devices.
Scottsdale-based Groovy Tech strives to help clients not just use but engage with their TV, printer, scanner, or any smart device in less than an hour.
A lot of our clients are people that have been extremely successful, whether it be, heads of law firms or whatever it may be, and then they sit there, and the only time that they're made to feel kind of stupid is when they're learning how to use their device.
One of Groovy Tech's main clients, Joni Herbst, says the company helped her out step by step with scanning computer files for her husband's business shortly after he passed away overseas in a plane crash.
When you work for a corporation, you always have your IT people, and they introduce you to the latest and newest things. Not having any of that corporate support just left me all alone trying to figure out all these things.
Herb says she finds Groovy Tech different than learning from friends because they're more patient.
They sit down in front of the computer and they just go click, 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 click. And you're watching, but they don't let you do it. They want to fix the problem, but they're not teaching. And George was so good about that because not only could I ask the question, but then he would let me hit the buttons.
Learning to use technology by getting hands-on themselves. In Scottsdale, Farai Bennett, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Diamondbacks have added new technology that will give fans the experience of a lifetime. Thanks to new virtual reality, fans can see what it's like in the eyes of a Major League Baseball player. The technology will give fans a view of several baseball perspectives, such as catching or hitting off a Major League pitcher, fielding ground balls, and catching fly balls. The Cox Connect's VR bullpen will be located along the main concourse in center field.
The Final Four tips off at University of Phoenix Stadium in just 3 days. The madness is heating up as 3 of the teams are expected to arrive at their hotels over the next several hours. But the 4th team has already spent its first night in the Valley. The North Carolina Tar Heels checked into the hotel late Wednesday evening. Tar Heels head coach Roy Williams, the only of the remaining 4 coaches to have been to a Final Four, said he wanted to give his team extra time to prepare for the weekend.
Get the guys acclimated to the time change. It's pretty late for us right now, 3 hours difference, and then Thursday all the stuff starts, and so it gets really, Thursday's really a hectic day. It's a full day. Our guys Thursday night are worn out.
And if you're headed to the Final Four festivities this weekend, the weather will be gorgeous.
Lauren Hornberger's in the Weather Center with your Final Four forecast.
That's right, it will be a beautiful weekend for the Final Four, but first let's take a look at your temperatures right now. 60 up in the Grand Canyon, 78 in Tucson, and Yuma hitting 87 right now. That's pretty hot down there. As for the Valley, we're seeing temperatures around 84, 85 degrees and climbing a little bit higher there. We're seeing higher than we expected today. We didn't really expect more than 83, and then a little bit cooler over in Mesa and Chandler area, still around 82 degrees right now. So Final Four weekend, what does that mean for your forecast? If if you're headed out to some of the events down in downtown Phoenix. Well, first we have to get through Thursday, which is going to be a little bit hotter of 88 degrees. Good news is it will be sunny all day long, and those temperatures are going to drop for Friday and Saturday, perfect for going out to the concerts and other things that are happening for the Final Four. A few clouds here and there for Friday and Saturday, but nothing to be too worried about. And then what I want to look at is Sunday and Monday, because we're going to hit 84 and 86, so make sure you bring water out there with you when you head out to those festivities. And we're going to see sunny skies throughout the rest of next week. Lauren Hornberger, Cronkite Weather.
When her daughters had no date for a dance, Mom called in for reinforcements.
Coming up next, the heartwarming story on how 4 girls got dates to their father-daughter dance.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
When Lauren Castaneda's 4 eldest daughters found themselves without a date to the church father-daughter dance, she got creative in finding a fill-in. She reached out to the only other men she'd trust with such a task, police officers.
They were very welcoming. The whole community was welcoming. You know, the church, Laura, the children, my date Ava, they just took us right in and accepted us, and I did the same thing.
I mean, they're just, we're gonna go to school and tell all of our friends, and at the park they're like, hey, watch the news tonight, and I'm like, who are you not telling?
Officer Corona was one of 4 who volunteered to escort the Castaneda girls after Lauren Castaneda, a mother of 7, reached out to Phoenix PD via email. The department thought this would be a good way to serve the community which they protect, and her daughters were overjoyed.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we'll talk about the economic impact of big events like the NCAA Final Four tournament. And time again for our legislative update with state legislative leaders.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, we journey to the Everglades to discover what scientists and lawmakers are doing to help restore its ecosystem. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
I'm David Goldstein, owner of Biltmore Loan and Jewelry. We buy or loan on upscale assets. We have over 30 years of experience in determining values of automobiles, jewelry, art, collectibles, and antiques. For more information and appointments, BiltmoreLoan.com.
An evening in conversation with Yanni and his piano.
We'll be able to talk. I'll be able to see your faces.
Saturday, April 8th at Mesa Arts Center.
And yes, I will be playing the piano for you.
Reserve seats at mesaartscenter.com.